All right, the first story. You know, a certain favor Igebo, who stole the headlines by tearing up their husband's passport at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport here in Lagos, has been reportedly arrested by immigration officials. The story has taken a curious twist. The man who featured in a viral video, as the husband says, the whole scenario was stage managed. According to him, in his words, quote, "What my wife tore is not my passport." This is somebody's story of what happened that we're passing to the world. It was all a skit, end quote. Is this not a dummy carried too far, Big Hill?
Well, at this stage, it's safe to just wait until the immigration folks complete their investigation, because I honestly don't know what is wrong with this couple.
I'm wondering.
You got your children to sit by your side.
Okay.
You know, to do your second video.
In the supposed skit.
No, not skit. The skit was the act of tearing.
Okay.
Now, after that happened, the wife tried to explain why she did it, that she didn't want the husband to go back abroad, that she would rather want them to stay here. And she was talking about how she had gone through that, she had gone through a lot.
Gone through
and
hell,
you know,
in the marriage.
The way our people get emotional about everything. Some people are saying, no, you've not heard her story. And I said, look, it's not about her story. If the law says you cannot mutilate our passport,
okay,
you should be conscious of what the law says. Otherwise, you just want to walk majestically into prison.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes. And the husband then responded and said, oh, she has started this thing and she got tired, this and that. All of that nonsense was going on. Then the woman said, well, I'm prepared to go to jail. I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
She said that she knew it was wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the husband, after they took the wife away, after the arrest of the wife, and she was taken to Abuja, as we were told, because these days it's not everything that we read.
That's it. Yeah,
the newspapers that are true. Then he came out to say, no, this thing was all a skit, this and that. Then people are saying, oh, you said what was done was a dummy passport. Okay, show us the real passport. How come in the course of that video that you shot with your innocent, beautiful children beside you, you couldn't show Nigerians that this is your real passport, that what was actually torn
was a dummy
passport, all to get the attention of Nigerians and all that. So I know that these days people do all kinds of skits.
Oh, yeah.
Just to make money. Nigerians don't have secrets anymore.
Okay.
You know? All because on social media there are different platforms where you can earn some good money.
Oh, yeah.
People now resort to all kinds of funny things. I want to believe that immigration officials who got hold of the loose sheets, the mutilated copy, they know what a passport looks like.
Oh, they should. Obviously, they should.
So let those ones confirm to us that indeed what she tore was not a passport until I hear from them. And they've also invited the husband so that what this woman is saying can be verified. But the law is clear. Let me read portions of the law.
Yeah.
So that we don't waste our time on this matter.
That's
if the allegations are substantiated, our actions will have constituted a breach of Section 10B of the Immigration Act 2015 as amended with corresponding penalties outlined under Section 10H of the same Act. Section 10 I says a person who unlawfully tears, tampers with or mutilates any passport or any pages thereof attempts, aids, abets, counsels, procures, connives, or conspires with any other person to do any of the acts mentioned in this subsection, commits an offense and is liable on conviction to imprisonment for a term of 10 years or a fine of 2 million naira or both.
Yeah.
Which means
Same cases.
now the judge has the latitude to either give you an option of fine or to visit both punishments, both options for you.
Yeah.
And that was what happened with Bobrisky.
Okay.
So Bobrisky normally should have been given an option of fine of 50,000 and walk away. But the judge exercised a power to visit both punishments on her. That is fine and imprisonment. Of course. This law also gives that provision.
Okay.
Which means, depending on
the sentence will be at the discretion of the judge.
Yes, the judge may decide to fine her and let her go, or jail her.
Yeah.
Or visit both options.
That's it.
That means get her to pay a fine and still jail her. So people must know. Because even when the Bobrisky thing happened, they were saying, why did they jail her? Does it not punishment? Does the offense not have an option of fine? Why did they jail him? Sorry, I called
Shim.
That.
No, I thought you were going to.
There's nothing I can do about his gender.
Oh yeah.
God designed him to be a man. He can dress like a woman all he wants, but he remains a man. You know? And we have no reason to believe that he goes around with the genitalia.
I hear he has served out his term.
So this same person can face the same punishment. This person can face the same punishment.
Because I think it's taking the thing too far.
Let us even know. They are now telling us it's a skit. You make the rest of us look like fools, Abi. So those of them who are picking, those immigration officers, they don't know what the Nigerian passport looks like, Abi. Okay, okay, fine. Let us see.
You remember when you said, if what she saw was a dummy, show me the original.
Yes, because I watched that video.
I saw that.
With those little kids beside him.
Yes.
He didn't show us a video. I mean, the real passport. He said, no, that was not. No, come on.
Tell me something else.
Funny things happen in our country. When you convince yourself that you've seen the worst and that you cannot be shocked about Nigeria anymore, something shocking will happen, and you then tell yourself that I thought I had seen the worst, but look at what has happened today.
Well, you know, our senior colleague Dele Giwa said we had been shocked to a state of unshockability, but nothing shocks us anymore.
No, these days I just expect the worst. Something, if you've seen something shocking, something more shocking will still happen. That will make you then realize that, oh, you are in Nigeria. So I mean, how do you joke with the passport of
what kind of a
that's a symbol of our country?
How do you start it? We will get to the airport and we'll put up a show.
Let us
of all places to try out a skit, the airport where all the security folks are, the customs, the immigration,
you use the passport of your country as the for your skit. No, I don't understand.
You know, the thing also affects a flag. If you mutilate the Nigerian flag, you are criminally liable.
Yes, and you should go to jail. Go to jail. Some of the people misbehaving today just to draw attention to themselves. All those people making cheap shots at controversy. If we are to visit the full weight of the law on them, they will be in jail.
But BKO, let's break this up further. Since it appears we belong in an environment that hardly punishes bad behavior, so people think they can do certain things and get away with them.
We must continue to make criminals pay
for their
actions, and that's why I was particularly happy with what happened to Bobrisky. And even Cubana chief priest knows today that he can no longer throw our currency around the way.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And
The lesson is taught and the lesson is learnt.
I saw a video where he wanted to give somebody money, he whispers into that person's, yes, and I saw him transferring money. I said, this is a brand new, born-again Cubana chief priest. Okay. In the past, he would simply tear the money and be throwing it as if the money offended him. He would just be throwing it. But today, he knows better.
And remember in the case of Bobrisky you talked about, the judge specifically asked him, are you a boy or a man or a woman? She said, I'm a man, my lord.
Yes, no, because at that point, he knew that he had reached the end.
Yeah.
So anything that he would do at that time would be to try and get the judge to be lenient.
That's it.
So you cannot do any hanky-panky at that stage. You cannot.
After all,
he afford to annoy the judge.
His was not a skit.
No.
It couldn't have been.
He didn't want to annoy the judge, so he behaved himself.
Oh yeah.
But in spite of that, he still got jailed, which is good. Let people learn. Let people know that our laws are meant to be obeyed. The way people trample on our laws, when they go abroad, they don't do that. They don't do that. They go abroad, they behave like decent people.
Oh, yeah.
They come home and then start behaving like, look, this is a country where
anything goes.
Law does not matter. No,
yeah.
We have to change that. We have to change that narrative. Let people know that our laws are meant to be obeyed.
To be obeyed, yeah.
And those who do not obey the law, they know that there are consequences
when you impugn them.
Yes.
When you impugn the laws, yeah. All right, let's go to our next story. You know, the games of the 33rd Olympiad ended in the French capital, Paris. Needless to rub it in that we did not win a medal at the biggest global sporting event on the planet. One can safely say, though, that the global sports community was waiting for our golden girl, Toby Amushon, to make a bold statement. To think that Team Nigeria had 12 billion naira invested on 88 athletes with no returns. Nigerians are naturally scandalized by the dismal outing, despite the monetary investment. Begs the question of what to do with the next games slated for Los Angeles, United States of America in 2028. BKO.
I'm scandalized because what I hate to see is progress and then suddenly
drop the ball.
You start seeing also taking back steps at a time
needlessly.
At a time when we felt we had made a giant leap.
Oh yeah,
it's the Chinese who took that lead, which the Americans had popularized, became something that the former leadership of the sports ministry, headed by Sunday Dare, adopted. And we saw clear signs that this was beginning to bear fruits. And how do you argue that it was bearing fruits? For the first time, Nigeria had an athletics champion, a world champion in athletics. We had never produced a world champion in athletics until Toby Amushon came to the scene.
Yeah.
And she even set 2 records in one day.
That's it.
Which is
at an international meet.
2 world records.
Yes.
She set 2 world records in one day. And the whole world was like,
because
where did this guy come from?
She was waiting for the first Olympics in her life.
And we all felt that, okay, this had to be her year. I was reading an interview that she granted. She said, this is my year.
Okay.
Because Toby Amushon is even capable of running the 100 meters. I mean, being one of the quartet, I mean, the Nigerian quartet.
Please, I hope I'm not too fast here.
Yeah.
There was Ophili who was not registered, but she qualified for the final of the 200 meters. Yes. So imagine an Ophili pairing with an Amushon and 2 others for the relays.
You see, the relays, I think that we did badly in the relays.
Oh, yes.
And this had been our strength over the years.
Yeah,
when we had Chidimo, when we had the Ezinwa brothers, when we had Innocent Egbunike, who set an African record in the 400 meters. Egbunike had actually contested at Kwaspo 80, and I watched him win the 100 meters competition at Kwaspo 80 for secondary school students. I watched him in 1980 win that race and went on to become a global star.
Sorry, remember an African president who, after watching him win a race,
Arab Moy,
said, "This man, you are
not innocent." Because look, the race had been damaged. If I can use the 4 by 400 meters, had been damaged. Egbunike, who used to be involved in the short sprints, 100 and 200 meters, he was converted to 400 meters.
Yes.
And then, after the race had been damaged, so to speak, and we had lost hope that we would get a medal.
It came from nowhere.
It came from nowhere, just the same way that Nefiok did some years back. He overtook them and won the race. So, the late President Arab Moy, because it was happening in his country, he said, "What's the meaning of this?"
Before his eyes.
He said, and it was, on the final day, he said, "No, this
that's your emotion. That's your emotion."
Yes, this innocent is not innocent. Oh.
You are not innocent anymore.
Those were the glory days. We were clearly the best in Africa in athletics. Now the short sprints, where we used to do well, we now see South Africans, people from Botswana, people from Cote d'Ivoire, dealing with us in the short sprint. So we can't even say, okay, Nigeria today in athletics, this is where you are quite strong.
But do you remember, even in a manner of speaking, like yesterday in Ghana, there was the African meet, and we dusted the continent, everybody, and our relay teams and so on.
See, that's what I'm saying, that in the short sprints, we used to thoroughly dominate Africa with the likes of Mary Onyali, Tina Eheagwam. Tina Eheagwam and Mary Onyali, they were rivals for the short sprints. And both of them excelled at World Junior Championships. We used to be world champions in 100 meters, at the junior level.
Yes.
That was how people like Tina Eheagwam, people like Mary Onyali, that was how they came. They started from the juniors. They were champions, and and the Omolade Akinremi and Taiwo Akinremi. We have Omotayo and Omolade Akinremi doing the hurdles and doing very well. Today we don't have good athletes anymore. In terms, we don't have.
I cannot forget Olakpade Adenikan.
Yeah, Olakpade Adenikan, student of CNS College Ilorin.
Yes.
I used to watch him as a secondary school student running in those invitational relays, and his father was a member of the Athletics Federation in Kwara State. And then they had Coach Momo. Coach Momo brought him up. And then when this legendary coach from Edo State took him up, Urobo, Tony Urobo, one of the greatest athletics coaches to come out of Nigeria, Tony Urobo,
I remember,
was the one who further brushed him up, and Adenikan became one of the best in the world, especially in 200 meters. So when we are going to Olympics, we know that in two Nigerians or three will even be in the final of the 100 meters. But today, look at where we are. Imagine a country as small as St. Lucian producing double Olympic medal winner.
And she made a meal of it. Do you blame her?
What do you expect? So look at our country. How do we explain the fact that we went to the Olympic and we didn't win anything?
All right.
How on earth?
But
it's always happened without consequences, because let me say that in the past we did badly.
BK, sorry. I know you are not as.
We will go to friends, but I said 1952 we didn't win anything. 1956 we didn't win anything. 1960 we didn't win anything. 1968 we didn't win anything. 1980 we didn't win anything. That was in Moscow. 1988 we didn't win anything, and 2012 we didn't win anything. So, are we trying to make this a way of life?
I hope not.
I hope not.
Okay. Let's take this commercial break. We should be back shortly. Please stay with us.
Come and come back, light up your life. Come and want to light up your house. Come and want to give you better. Come and extraordinary wire. Come and cable see Baba. Come and wire see Baba. Come and quality. Come and durable. Come and cable yo. Come and cable see Baba. Come and wire see Baba. Come and quality. Come and durable. Come and cable yo. Everybody, come and see. Come and wires one in a case. Brother, sister, uncle, auntie, go get your own. Come and wires come and cable come and quality. Come and durable. Come and cable yo. Come and wires come and cable come and quality. Come and durable. Come and cable yo.
Coleman Wires and Cable. Great quality. Now with the new look.
All right, folks, welcome back. Time to join our colleagues. We'll move over to our studio in Abuja, where Hassan Wada and Francis Obi are waiting. Yeah, Brother Hassan, are you there? And Francis, I greet you one more time.
And the good thing is Francis actually
good evening,
was
thank you
at
for
the games as chairman of the Badminton Federation.
Brother Francis, you were at the games. I hear you are chairman of the Badminton Federation, right?
Yes, President.
Yeah, but how do you react to this scenario? Because the thing,
what happened?
The thing played out before your eyes.
Yeah, I was there.
Okay,
so
then.
Now, how do I react? So I can look at it from two different angles. From the angle of my sport specifically, and then from the angle of Team Nigeria generally. So from the angle of my sport, I would say that, yes, at the end of the day, the bottom line is how many medals are you able to win, and what was the level of performance. So before we went, I will share this. There was a meeting with the ministry, and all the different sports that went for the Olympics were asked to make projections and say how many medals each sport was expecting. Mind you, we went with only one player, which was in the men's singles. So, I mean, the other sports, people came and made projections, promised medals. Some were not sure of the color, but we were sure of medals. But when I was called upon, I stood up and I said, well, I do not want to raise anybody's hopes here. I want to be very realistic. And I'll start by giving a background. One, we went to the Olympics for the event, that's men's singles. In the history of badminton in Nigeria, we've never qualified for men's singles before. So it was the first time that Nigeria was going to participate. And for us, that was already a positive before we went. And then the player who went also, in the history of the game, no Nigerian in badminton has gone for 2 Olympics. Everybody that has gone for Olympics in badminton has gone for only 1. He is the first player. So in Tokyo, he went for doubles, and this time around he went. So I started on that note. So I said, for us as a federation, we were going with a mindset. We looked at the performance of Africa in the badminton event at the Olympics over the years, and we were not very satisfied. It's always been very poor because generally badminton is not seen as an African game, it's seen as an Asian game. So we are never seen to be even competitive. So when we go, we are beating 21-2, 21-5, 21-6, and we lose out in the first round. So we said what we wanted to achieve as a federation was to go there and compete. If possible, go beyond the first round, and after that, anything can happen. So we wanted to go and improve on the performance of Africa over the years, and that was my submission. So we went there, and I can tell you that our player did very well. In his game, the second game, especially against the world number 6 from China, he lost 2-0, 21-17, 21-17. At the end of the match, it was like he was the one that won, because a lot of people didn't believe that an African player could play the game to that level. So he put up, in fact, the African president came to me and said he was proud of the player. He has made Africa proud for once. And in fact, that has been the best performance by any African player in badminton at the Olympics. So if you look at it from that point, I will not tell you that we did very badly. Yes, we didn't win a medal, but our player put up a very good performance, and everybody acknowledged it. it was a standing ovation when he was leaving. So that's badminton. Now, Team Nigeria, and coincidentally, because of his performance, even before his performance, because of the effort he had made, he was African champion since 2019. He has won 4 African championships and 2 All-African games back-to-back. So, at the end of the day, when they were in Germany, he was nominated to be the Team Nigeria captain. And that was the first time, for us in badminton, it was a huge statement that we are being recognized, because, all the times we went, there was no time that a badminton player was made captain of Team Nigeria. So it was with all that we went for the games. And like you've all observed, at the end of the day, Team Nigeria did not win any medal. The expectations were high. Not in a year that we had a world record holder and world champion in Toby Amuson. And then we thought that S.A. Brume had done. At the last Olympics, she won a bronze medal. So everybody, we were all hopeful that this time around. So we're all looking up to athletics and also wrestling, where Blessing Oborududu had won a silver medal in Tokyo. So we're all hoping that something will happen this year. So, but at the end of the day, like you rightly said, no medal came our way. So if you ask me, I would say I hear there's a lot going on, a lot of conversations going on. I will not want to go into the blame game at this point. I would rather focus on lessons learned. Let's do a post-mortem. What were the issues? What were the challenges? And I'll tell you, if it's talking about what was responsible, if we want to narrow it down to one individual, I don't think it will be fair. It's a collective, a system completely.
President,
yeah.
I don't think that is the goal.
Yes.
What we want is
to
know what really went wrong. At a time when we had high hopes, look at what happened at the last Olympics. We thought that we would continue to make progress. But suddenly, we had this extremely poor performance. And all of the medal hopefuls, some of them didn't even get to the semi-finals or even quarterfinals. Some of the people that we banked on, some of them were world champions. Adekuroye, for example. Adekuroye could beat anybody. That was how we felt. But she didn't even... She won a fight. The opponent retired due to injury, and then the next fight she lost. Were these losses psychological, the result of inadequate preparation psychologically? Did we have psychologists within Nigeria working on our athletes?
Or for that matter, motivation, were the athletes motivated enough?
We just need to know what went wrong.
Okay, so if I may say something, I'm happy you asked the question. So were there psychologists there? Unfortunately, I will tell you that in sports in Nigeria, there are certain critical factors that we don't pay attention to and we don't think are important. So we went to Germany for the camp. And the Indian player who came there for training had up to how many people in our team? Food nutritionist, sports psychologist, a physiotherapist. In fact, about 6-7 people, all these taking care of every little need. These are details. But here I can tell you that we had, there was a psychologist who was moving around all the Team Nigeria, not dedicated to any sport per se. And if you ask me, I don't think that was adequate. But what would I say for this performance? Countries, I can tell you, started preparing for this Olympics 3 years ago. That's the truth. So, we were in Paris. The hotel I stayed, Denmark brought an under-19 team. I think it was handball or volleyball. They were staying in the same hotel. They didn't come to participate. They came to watch. Every day they went to the venue, and at the end, in the evening, I was observing. They will come, they had a place set up for them, they had a screen. They will play the matches of that day, the coaches will be there analyzing the games with them. My brother, they are preparing for 2028 Los Angeles Games. So, a lot of times, we wait till the last minute, a month to the time, 2 months to the, I heard somebody say that, we didn't do so much. We paid so much attention to qualification instead of preparation for the Olympics. But the truth is this: if you don't qualify, you cannot start to prepare for the Olympics. So the first thing to do is qualification. So what the problem is that we always qualify much later than most other countries. Olympic qualification window is about a year. Once they say, oh, it has started, you play as many qualifiers. But the truth is this: if in the world ranking, like in badminton, if you are world number 2, when the qualification period window opens, you are going to start at world number 2. So what you do is to try to maintain your position or even get better. Even if you are world number 50, that's where you will start. So if I tell you that preparation started 4 years ago, it means that over a period of 3-4 years, you are playing to maintain and improve on your world ranking, so that when the Olympics come, where you are ranked is where you start the race for qualification. Now, if by some time qualification window had not closed, but we did all the calculations of others who were in contention in Africa and what other competitions they had open to them, and we were able to be confident that none of them could play and meet up with him and overtake him. That was when we knew. But until it closed at the end, I think early May, that was when it was announced that, okay, he has qualified for the Olympics. And at that time, you would expect. So I will tell you something, that as a federation, we started our campaign even before the ministry started.
Okay. We'll get back to you when the time permits. But let me speak with Hassan, Brother Hassan. Hassan, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Thank you for having me on the show.
Okay. The name Toby Amusan, I'm sure must be on your mind as I speak.
Absolutely.
Aren't you surprised that she didn't make a statement at the games?
Well, I won't say I was surprised. You know, Toby Amusan she's a human being. You know, going into the Olympics, our best chances of winning medals were from Toby Amusan and S.A. Brume. Reason being that Toby Amusan at this point in time going into the Olympics was probably the hottest 110-meter hurdler in the world. And S.A. Brume, going by the surprise she pulled at the Tokyo Olympics, everybody anticipated that the experience she would have gained from the previous Olympics would have propelled her to win a medal. But you see, I'm not surprised they didn't make it. You see, at the Olympics, that's where your colleagues transform from athletes to machines. They know that this comes in, Olympics are once every 4 years. It's not like the annual meets that they have where they can run against each other on several times. But there are athletes that will participate in this Olympics, and the next Olympics, they will fade out. So when you come to the Olympics, you must come with your A game. You know, in Nigeria, we have the talent, no doubt. But you see, over time, we have not figured out how we want to fund sports in this country. The chairman of the Badminton Federation, if he's to come out openly and tell you that, yes, they qualified in Ghana, but before they could get to Ghana to qualify, they had to struggle to raise funds. And as an athlete, you don't need those kind of distractions. Let us ask ourselves, when did we start our training camp in Germany? You know, when did other countries start their training camp in Germany? You know, I've done a lot of analysis. I've looked at our competitors in Africa. Our competitors in Africa are the likes of South Africa, Botswana, Ivory Coast, and all of that. If you look at what they spend on sports compared to what Nigeria is spending on sports, you will know that we have not started. Permit me to just give you some figures. You know, in South Africa, this year, their budget for sports is 6.3 billion rand. 6.3 billion, $78 million. In Morocco, Moroccan Football Federation, their budget this year, $150 million. Women's football in Morocco, this is Nigeria's contribution to their training. Let me tell you, to win an Olympic medal, you need to train 1,000 hours annually for 3.5 years. That's what it takes to win an Olympic medal. Now, once you train, you need a nutritionist, you need a physiotherapist, you need your athletic trainer, you need the medicals. It's not rocket science. The world has realized that, you know what, sports is big business. So the era of saying you came and pulled a surprise, you shocked everybody, is non-existent. We are celebrating our women's basketball team, yes. But how many players on the basketball team were groomed in Nigeria? Only one player, Murjanatu Musa. And I know what that girl went through before she got a chance to go and play in Spain. And now she played for Nigeria. As I'm speaking to you, Nigeria doesn't have a playable basketball facility in this country. Yet we are celebrating that Nigeria is ranked number 12 in the world. But we don't have a facility. So while we want to complain and blame the athletes, I always tend to look at it from another angle. We must think of a sustainable way of funding sports in this country. Waiting for the ministry will not take us to the promised land. Permit me to give you some models that are being adopted around the world. In Jamaica, they have the Sports Development Foundation. The Sports Development Foundation, they are responsible for funding the federations, aside from the other funds that come from the ministry. How do they generate these funds? The lottery in Jamaica, the taxes from lottery go to the Sport Development Foundation. That way, if the chairman of the Badminton Federation in January says, you know what, my athlete must participate in 20 tournaments around the world. They say, okay, what's your budget? He says, my budget is $100,000, $200,000. They said, okay, here's your budget. You must get results for us. They are not waiting for the annual budgetary provisions from the ministry. Because you know how haphazard budgetary provisions are. In South Africa, they have what you call the South African Foundation and Olympic Committee. They are responsible for funding federations. Under that program, you have what you call OPEX, Operational Excellence Program. The Operational Excellence Program identifies their medal hopefuls in the Olympics, and they start funding them 4 years ahead of time. Some of them, even as far as when they are in secondary schools, they start funding them. So this program identifies the best talents that can win medals for them in the future. Once they start funding them, they take them off the federations and say, you know what, federations, these are our babies. These are our potentials that will win medals for us. Go and look for more athletes for us. If they fit the criteria, then we will now adopt them.
Yeah,
lastly, let me tell you, any country, just 1 point, please. 1 point, please. Any country you visit in the world, the mecca for athletics is what you call a high-performance center. I've been to the high-performance center in Pretoria. I've been to several high-performance centers in America. Once you visit a high-performance center, what the high-performance center does, it converts you from a human being to a machine. In Nigeria, we don't have a high-performance center. The best facility we have here is the National Stadium. I knew Ogazi, Samuel Ogazi, he came 7th in the 400 meters at the Olympics. Last year, when he was training for the Trinidad and Tobago Junior Championship, I was watching him at the stadium there. He was running at the training facility. The training facility there was built in 2002. The tracks there were laid in 2002. The average lifespan of a track is 10 years. We're talking of 22 years later, the guy who came 7th in the 400 meters in the Olympics, that was where he was training. We need to do better. We need to think of how we are going to fund sports. Once we sort that problem out, our minister will not be under pressure trying to explain a lot of the issues to Nigerians.
Yeah, Brother Hassan, at least you are the chairman of the Kogi State Football Association. At the Olympics, we made a statement in 1996, if you remember. So, is it difficult to build on that achievement? Is it difficult?
The question I'll ask you is, what have we done since 1996? Let me answer the question. Many tend to forget. In 1996, we're coming from there was sustained investment in football. We had a coach who had been with us, Clemens Westerhoff, came in 1989. He took us to 1994. In 1996, his assistant, Joe Bonfore, was one who took us to the Olympics. You understand? And I remember Chioma Ajunwa winning gold in long jump. We didn't expect it.
Yes.
None of us believed that we could. No one was even watching long jump. Everybody was hoping that we'll win football. So yes, we did well, but did we make the right investments for Chioma Ajunwa to win gold? I would say no. You understand? But since then, what has been happening is still being the same haphazard way of trying to fund sports. Not until we change the way we fund sports in this country. Trust me, as long as we are waiting for the annual budget, compare the budget from London 2012 to this Olympics. You can see that the budget is depreciating because of the currency devaluation that's taking place over the years. You know, so we need to change the way we fund sports. You know.
All right. Let me add this one. Boxing used to be a strong point for us at the Olympics. Not even in Africa. In the last, when did we do anything tangible in boxing at the Olympics?
It's been ages we did anything. I think the last I remember, maybe the likes of Donkwan Dokwari, when he was doing heavyweight Olympic boxing. But again, like I said, it boils down to infrastructure and investment. Do we have a world-class boxing facility in this country? We don't. So what do you expect? Where are the athletes going to train? Then you look at nutrition. Athletes are coming to train in the morning, they drink pure water and manage maybe puff and meat pie. After burning all that energy, there are no nutrients, no supplement. After that, they manage one mama put, maybe eat eba and egusi or something. That's not how an athlete is developed. You understand? An athlete, you treat him like egg. He gets premium nutrients. He must have the right meal set to propel him for greatness. See, let me tell you. Yes.
Hassan, in a nutshell, because we want our people to learn.
Oh, yeah.
Take us through the American model that ensures that consistently they are excelling in sports and they are the best in the world. What is the model? How have they been able to work with corporate institutions to fund athletes and to ensure that they create world beaters? How do they do it?
In America, they have a saying that sports is big business. They know that once you get the best out there and they're doing very well, it will be easy to get the private sector involved in sports. In America, they have what you call the Olympic Development Program. I'll narrow it down to, I'll use examples like Nigeria. For example, if you have the Olympic Development Program in Nigeria, it means, for example, at any ward, any local government, at any given point in time, when they ask you who is the best person in football here, they say this person. If they say who is the best 100-meter runner, they have that program across the country. So what ends up happening is that at any given point in time, they already know who their best athletes are across the country. That way, they are able to attract funding. Also, you cannot neglect the fact that they have world-class infrastructure. Some of the time, when we say we are going for training camp in some of these countries, they are giving us secondary school infrastructure to use. You understand? Because they are world-class facilities. But here, can you name any secondary school in Nigeria that even has a decent sporting facility? No. You understand? So even if we want to adopt this program, we must understand that it's multifaceted. First, you must sort out funding for the federations. Secondly, you must sort out your infrastructure challenges. In my humble opinion, the role of the ministry is strictly policy, infrastructure development, and maintenance. You understand? They need not be involved. The minister need not be involved in telling us who is the fastest 100-meter runner in the country. That's not his business. You understand? The president of the Badminton Federation is the one who will tell us who the best badminton players are in this country. And this is how, these are the programs they're embarking on, and please, provide the funding for it. You understand? Once we sort out those things, the ecosystem will be solid and we'll start getting, see, let me tell you, Nigerians have natural sheer willpower. I've never seen a country like this in my life, where with little, they will achieve greatness. Imagine if you do 30% of what's obtainable in some of these countries. We'll be the best country in the world. You understand?
All right, sorry. Let me talk with Brother Francis Obi. Brother Francis, let's quickly go through this. I know you remember that an oil major in this country, Mobil, Nigeria, used to fund athletics or put money down. At what stage did we drop the ball? Or what happened?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not in athletics, but I'll tell you something that from my own experience when I came in, I realized that we have a huge trust deficit, especially in sports administration. Everybody feels that sports money put to sports is going to be spent and will not be accounted for, and it will not be judiciously spent for what it is meant for. So I will tell you from my own federation experience, we had to try and build that confidence and trust. Let people know that if you give us 10 million, that money is going to be spent for what. So it's a very huge problem. I don't know what happened with mobile that they dropped, but I must say something here. My brother here, in fact, as he was speaking, I was just shaking my head. And that's what, it brings certain things to the fore. Funding, and that's why, you know, I said it earlier, 3 years, 4 years, people are preparing for the next Olympics. But here, 6 months, 2 months, 3 months. When did we go to Germany for the foreign camp? 2 weeks of training. That's what we had in Germany. And then people who have been training for 3 years, we intend to go there and beat them. It's not possible. Now, funding. And I say something. We must give something to this government. Give it to them. Money was released. We had 12 billion. So, in fact, that's what is making people more agitated. There's so much money. At the last Olympics, they were giving 2 billion. Forget about the devaluation of the naira. But no government, I mean, in my own this thing, from my own experience, has given so much to sports within a short time. But I will tell you that the only challenge, and that's because that's what has been the practice. Rio, the money for Rio Olympics was given when the team was already in Brazil. But this time around, I hear money was released about a week or some days to the Paris Olympics. Now, that money, part of it was meant for preparation, training and all that. If you bring that money at that time, what are you going to achieve? So for me, what I want to appeal, government has done well. They've, at least for once, they've shown that sports should be given some form of attention. Timing for release of funds is very critical. If it's released late, you will not achieve much. And then two, he said something about funding. So this, you talked about mobile. You must create an enabling environment for the private sector to be interested. If it's not, then infrastructure. I mean, these are things. So look at the stadium. He just said it now. He gave an example. I told somebody, we don't have a single badminton playing facility in Nigeria. If you have a badminton hall that is dedicated for badminton, it's a private member club where nobody can just go in. It's not open to the public. So, and it's one thing that we, as a federation, we have been working on to at least have a home. And he talked about high performance center. Those are the places we try to send our players to abroad to be able to be competitive. There's none here. There's none in Africa for badminton.
Oh, no Francis, so,
you know,
do we have a slew of young badminton players that we can bank on in the years to come? You know, because I remember the days of Egbeyemi, you know, he was very popular, he was an African champion, and he reigned for years. Do we have some young badminton players coming through at this time to reignite?
Yes, we have.
That
in fact, yes, we have. I must tell you that as a federation, since last year, we started a program, Shuttle Time, and that program is specifically targeted at schools. So we are taking badminton to the grassroots. So we go there, introduce the game, we bring equipment, we teach the games masters, we bring some students to train, and then we release equipment to them to go and start the game in their schools. Yes, we started that. Then we have age grade. So right now we have younger players who are waiting. I mean, once Anu is leaving the scene, they are ready to step in. We just have those group under 15, under 19. And that is the only way. But I can tell you something, that in the past few years, because if you have these players, you must expose them to competition. And not only within here, you take them to the African continental competitions to expose them. But if you don't do that, you can play here forever and you think you are good. The next day you go out here, you meet somebody who will just make a bit of it.
Thank you,
so
brother.
Those are the issues.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Francis. I wish you Godspeed as we prepare for Los Angeles 2028. Wish you well. Many thanks as well
Thank you very much.
Hassan Wada. Thank you very kindly for your time, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay then. BKO, it was not all lost for us. Hear this one. Rene Wakama voted best coach of the women's basketball tournament.
Yes, and,
but no medal comes with that.
No, it doesn't. You see, people, we have to be realistic. That was the first time an African team will get to the quarterfinal of basketball women at the Olympics. And don't forget, Angola, for example, basketball is their national sport.
That's it.
You know, they used to dominate everyone. But today, Nigeria is very good in basketball. We at least on the continent, we are doing well on the continent. People didn't give her a chance. I believe that if they had a better draw, because to beat Australia was not what anybody expected. And then they had to face the US. That's the best in the world, you know, in that category. So to beat, when you encounter, the draw must favor you a little bit, even when you want to make progress. So if the draw had favored them a little bit, maybe they will have reached the final, or they will have reached the semi-final where they can then contest for the bronze medal. But she's done very, very well, you know, for a Nigerian woman, and to be ranked the best in the world. Best female basketball coach. I think she's done very well. Now we have to take it further, you know, and ensure that this team does not slide. Having been among the best 8 in the world, we have to build on that.
We must go. We must go, Biko. when you talk Nigeria and sports, you are near to tears, but tears would not help anything.
No.
We must do the right thing.
Want to do the right thing.
Okay. Okay, folks, that will just about do it for today's show. If you missed any part of this, not to worry. Later tonight at 11, a repeat broadcast will take your airtime. So take advantage then. And on Sunday, we expand the field for you for 2 hours from between 1:30 and 3:30 p.m. We are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now. Take care.